Soaring prices put poor countries at risk of default, says the International Monetary Fund. Federal government approves more funds for establishment of digital centers for tech startups. And on the stock market, investors are waiting for key U.S. consumer index data this week as the early market report turns in red this morning. This is Business Express coming to you on the network service of Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA. I'm Leah Kating. Babatunde. You're welcome. Nigeria is said to be losing between $15 to $18 billion to illicit financial flows annually. To cap the menace, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission (ICPC) is equipping investigators, prosecutors, and tax inspectors from various agencies on how to investigate and prosecute illicit financial flows in the country. The chairman of the commission, Professor Bolaji Awosanoye, says illicit financial flows continue to pose challenges to development, and to stop the trend, there is need to track the illicit financial flows, stop it, and repatriate it. It is expected that at the end of the training, participants will promote financial accountability, transparency, and integrity in the country. Now we move ahead. Regional stakeholders, in collaboration with key global players in humanitarian crisis, are strategizing towards stabilizing Lake Chad Basin for enhanced social and economic activities. Jide Onifade reports that these came to the fore at the first annual International Forum of the Lake Chad Basin, declared open by Nigeria's Vice President Yemi Osinbajo.
All of the successes in our fight against terrorism exemplify what we can achieve working together. We therefore must continue to build on this spirit of cooperation in other areas of intervention and forge even stronger ties for sharing information and lessons from our different experiences. One of the things that the crisis has affected is social cohesion within and around many of the communities in the region. So as we rebuild the physical structures within these areas, we should be mindful of the need to foster peaceful coexistence and restore the social fabric of those communities and societies.
Nigeria is creating innovative ecosystem as it positions itself to be the leading digital economy in Africa. This is with the approval for more funds for the establishment of digital centers that will nurture startups of indigenous technologies, which is expected to cause digital transformation. Chimdiman DBC reports that this is a fallout of the Federal Executive Council meeting this week.
On 11th November 2020, the Federal Executive Council approved contract for construction of the National Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center. 3 months later, the foundation was laid. The center is to serve as a one-stop shop where young innovators, entrepreneurs, and startups will acquire cutting-edge technological skills, develop hardware, software, and emerging technologies, as well as link up technology hubs across the world. The major objective is to create more job opportunities, which is one of the federal government's quests.
Digital innovation and digital entrepreneurship. These are the two prerequisites of building an indigenous digital economy.
The contract was initially awarded for more than 9.5 billion naira. However, due to rising cost of critical materials, more funds were requested. The Federal Executive Council has granted approval for the increment. The construction work is at about 45% completion. The tech hub, expected to be completed in the second quarter of 2023, will be equipped with state-of-the-art facilities comprising digital innovation lab, mini research park, co-working startup space with digital literacy and skill capacity building facilities. In Abuja,
Now, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) says higher global food and energy prices due to the war in Ukraine are hitting developing countries, and better mechanisms for dealing with sovereign debt stress will be needed to stave off defaults. Vito Gaspar, director of the IMF's Fiscal Affairs Department, and Saila Pazzarugiolo, the organization's strategy chief, said the war in Ukraine is adding risk to unprecedented levels of public borrowing, while the pandemic is still straining many government budgets. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization recently released figures indicating that the food prices are surging at the fastest pace ever, a situation attributed to the war in Ukraine that is worsening a global hunger crisis. World food commodity prices in the month of March reached their highest level ever, affecting grains, vegetables, and cooking oil. The cereal price index rose to 17.1% higher in March than in February, driven by large rises in wheat. Now, that is just one food commodity. Rising food prices and their implications is our focus this morning, and to discuss with us is Mr. Bello Dogundaji. He is the National Secretary, Federation of Agriculture Commodity Association. Thank you, Mr. Dogundaji, for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you.
Great. Perhaps we start by looking at the war in Ukraine. How is it affecting prices back home in Nigeria? A lot of people are concerned, and of course, on that human index need, food stands to be the most critical one.
Well, before the war in Ukraine, the issue of coronavirus pandemic was all over the world, and that has affected the world food production. I mean, globally.
Yeah, of course.
And on top of that, you have the war between Ukraine and Russia. Well, you know the consequences that is always attached to war, especially for a country that the two countries, we are talking of energy, world energy, and we are talking of agriculture. The two countries involved, they are at the center of energy in the world. So consequently, what is happening will have a ripple effect globally.
Okay, so while we're looking at this ripple effect, we look back home. How sufficient are we? A lot of people will want to ask that question. And available land for food production, are we using it well?
Well, besides the land issue, you know, we are facing this issue of bandits, where people used to go and farm under normal circumstances. The activities of the bandits is inhibitive in those areas. Nobody can farm. And as a result, you have food shortage. If you are not in the farm, how will you produce? Mm-hmm. And you must eat. Mm-hmm. Because you move to other places where you'll be housed as an IDP. And you don't have food to eat. You have no farm. You cannot farm. Then it means you are overstretching the available food wherever you found yourselves. And as a result, the price keeps on skyrocketing. That is the effect. So we have land. In Nigeria, we have land all over the place. And the land we have is fertile land. But you cannot go, especially those areas that we know, they are predominantly farmers. And they produce the food we eat in this country. And they are worse affected.
So, how do we come out of this situation?
Well, it's about security, and the security personnel are on top of the situation. They are doing the best they could to bring normalcy in those areas. But I'm telling you, the situation is so terrible. Food is facing a lot of security challenges. The farmers are doing they are doing best what they know, but it is tied down to their ability to be in the farm to produce.
So can we say now that that the security challenges is now superseding the challenge we've had over time about access to credit?
Well, you see, credit is a major and a fundamental factor of every economic activities, including farming. You could see where funding is made and where funding is not made, the major differences that occurred. Over the time, you have seen how uncle borrowing had impacted on Nigerian farmers to a large extent. There's an increase in production. And the production, particularly from the smallholder farmer, you could see it. There has been significant increase in that sector. And even where you are giving money to go and farm and the land is not there for you to farm, or the insecurity about where you will farm, then it is an impediment.
Okay, so these smallholder farmers you mentioned who have seen some significant increase in their activities, we will want to also ask, my colleagues are asking, technology, are you and the farmers like you looking into leverage on technology to improve the output of the farm produce now that we are having the space actually shrink?
It's like I mentioned about the Uncle Boros program, and I am really referring to at least major commodities that have keyed into that funding window. I mean, RIFAN, Rice Farmers Associations of Nigeria. They are major beneficiaries of Uncle borrowing, and you have seen recently they have done what we call pyramids, and they have shown the world that yes, at least from what the little they have moved up, it means they are in farming, and that they have shown the world, the Nigerians, that yes, they are out there to produce what we can eat for this country. With the global problem of food production, we are able to sustain our own tempo here, right in our own country. it means it is a plus to us. Then if you go to maize also, maize also has significantly shown that yes, they are also enjoying the Uncle Boros program, and that they have gone ahead to also tell the world, tell Nigerians that yes, from the little we have moved up from the farmers that have enjoyed the Uncle Boros program, they have done also pyramids. That is to show that yes,
just working.
It's working. So this is the issue, and thank God, the CBN governor is doing the best I can say, because some of commodities also are keying into the Uncles Borrowers program, and to some extent you have even the prime uncles, individuals who have the capacity, who can showcase large hectarage of land. They have been given, and they have the opportunities also to showcase themselves. This is all towards ensuring a food security nation. Yes.
Okay, so we hope that the nation indeed will be secured in a very short while. Must thank you, Mr. Dogundaji, for coming on the program this morning, and I wish you Ramadan Kareem.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, so we move next to Surviving COVID-19 series that's put together by Bosley Abel.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
I'm into shea butter business, and I've been into the business for the past 4 years. And the business, by God's grace, has been very lucrative. It's a good business, though it's seasonal. Okay, we usually sell more during Harmattan period and rainy season when there is usually cold. People use it usually that period very well. We don't sell much, like between February down to April. The business is low.
Why?
Because the weather is very hot at that particular time, and some people that usually use it for as cream, they won't be able to use it because of the heat season. People use it during cold, when there is people that usually have cough, catarrh. They use it, and since my number is on the product, so they do call me and I do deliver it. So people, they patronize me during that period very well. I'm not the one producing it. I bought it, produced, then repack it. I do repack it. It's solidified. So I melt it, then repack it to my own taste. I do supply in supermarkets and shops. Like this one now, I supply at the rate of 200. Okay. Then this is 150 grams. I supply at the rate of 300. And this 300 grams, I supply it at the rate of 500. During the lockdown, there was no movement per se. So the only thing is that people that have my number, they do call me. They call me for delivery. So I send it to them. The Chinese people have entered the market also. So now the price has gone up. Because of the COVID, they buy it there and they take it to their place. A friend of mine got the CBN loan intervention. So that was how I had it. I was told that it's no longer, they are no longer giving the loan. So I don't know how true it is. So I'm somehow relaxed about it anyway, but actually I will need the loan if I get it. Because now it's a small and medium scale business. So I would like to establish it and go into wholesale. And you can see that if Chinese can come all the way to buy it from the market, so if I have enough cash, I'll go into it in a big way.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of
OPEC Secretary General Mohammed Sanusi Barkindo is advocating global commitment to multilateralism with a view to ensuring an unhindered, stable and secure flow of energy to the world. Benny Adams reports that the OPEC boss was speaking during the 15th high-level meeting between OPEC and the European Union.
OPEC and our non-OPEC partners will continue to remain vigilant in monitoring the daily movements of the oil market, and will continue to meet each month to discuss the latest developments and act where necessary.
It is more important than ever to continue our dialogue because we have to solve all three crises at the same time, and we have to solve them together. The European Union is doing our part, welcoming millions of refugees from Ukraine and ensuring a functioning energy system in Ukraine.
The European ambassadors in Nigeria are seeking to strengthen partnership with Nigeria in the energy sector. Speaking on behalf of the group at a courtesy visit to NNPC, Ambassador Samuela Isopi said the EU is seeking partnerships to fill the gap created by the current geopolitical situation in the European Union due to the Russia-Ukrainian conflict. She said, without mincing words, that the time to strengthen partnership in the oil and gas sector is now, which she reiterated as the focus of their visit to the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. A statement by Garba Dean Mohammed, Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division, quotes her as saying, the continent is ready to strengthen partnership, particularly in liquefied natural gas LNG. Already, Nigeria is the fourth supplier of gas to Europe, with 40% of her LNG exported to the continent. Chief Executive Officer of NNPC, Mele Kyari, assured the delegation that the company will continue to deepen its historical relationship with EU companies in Nigeria to add more value to its business. This, he said, is by increasing gas supply to the global market while also deepening domestic gas utilization in the country. Other diplomats on the delegation include ambassadors of Portugal, Spain, Italy, and Deputy Head of Mission of France. Let's now take a look at the commodities market. And as the equities market resumed this morning on the Nigerian exchange, the markets, we tell you, closed Monday's trading session in positive territory. The all-share index gained 0.51% to end the session at 46,867.95 basis points, and market capitalization closed the previous day at 25.26 trillion naira. 224.6 million shares valued at 3.8 billion naira exchange hands in 5,946 deals. The financial services sector dominated the activity chart, with Guarantee Trust Holding Company, Zenith, and Sterling Banks topping that chart. Now, those are the figures, the data the market has resumed with this morning. And away from home in the global scene, markets are in negative territory this morning as investors await key U.S. inflation figures. Let's join Neka Oko for the update.
Global investors will be watching the U.S. Consumer Price Index reading for March this Tuesday and Producer Price Index on Wednesday for indications as to how drastically the Federal Reserve will have to act in order to rein in inflation. Chinese markets attempted to recover from Monday's heavy losses, swinging between positive and negative territory during Tuesday's trade. The Shanghai Composite rose about 1%. The Hang Seng Index edged 0.99% higher, while the Nikkei 225 in Japan led losses among the region's major markets as it fell 1.81%. European markets are set to drop in Tuesday trade. The UK's FTSE 100 is set to fall 53 points. The French CAC looks set to drop 70 points, and the German DAX is expected to lose 180 points. US stock futures declined in early morning trading as investors braced for a key inflation report later in the day. Futures on the Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 137 points. S&P 500 shed 0.45%, and Nasdaq 100 futures dipped 0.34%. African markets are open but yet to post figures this morning.
And that wraps this edition of Business Express. Remember to keep in touch with us, send in your comments, observations, and suggestions. Also be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. Join us also on all our social media platforms. Business Express returns Wednesday. I'm Leah Katung Babatunde saying God bless Nigeria and be safe out there.